Today we're going to be making some cost-effective fall decor DIYs. Keep watching. I'm Brandy and this is Making It My Own DIYs. Welcome. The first project is an autumn sparkle wreath. Alright, we're going to start off with a wreath form from Dollar Tree. I believe this is a 14-inch wreath. Yes, I'm going to use the one that is sort of a beige color because it's going to match what we're using. I've got some of these little picks that I thrifted, and they're gold and silver and just metallic looking. Some of these acorns, and I think I have 5 of these, and some Dollar Tree Deco mesh, some ribbon, and I like the colors here, so this is the one I'm going to use. I think it looks good with the background. You're going to need some pipe cleaners, of course. We're going to take these pipe cleaners and set up this wreath base. So we're going to go across the center, as we do with most of our wreaths, right across the center there, all the way around. Just twist it tightly, and it's going to go across the second and third little rails there, right through the middle. And if you crisscross like this, see how it's going across? That will keep it from sliding around, because when we put the other ones on, they are going to be able to move around a little bit more freely. So this is how it looks when you get the first, I think those are six or 9. And then you're going to go on the outside, and we're going to go around the outside 2 rings all the way around. And then on the inside, we're going to slide that middle ring over, the one that's furthest out, and we're going to put another one right here in the front. So each section will essentially have 3 pieces. One around the center, one around the inside, and one around the outside. See here? And the ones in the middle can slide back and forth if, don't be worried about that, because once you get those little poofs in there, it's going to lock it into place. Same thing here. We're going to go to the next section, slide it over, and put them on the inside. This just made it easier for me to get my placement right. Now, if you can just eyeball it and go in there and go ahead and do each one of them in order all the way around, then you just go right ahead and do it that way. Whatever makes it easy for you and whatever is going to get you crafting, you're going to do it that way, okay? But if you like the way this wreath turns out, then, this is the method that I used. So this is the inside. You can see how many we have here. Then there's the outside and the middle. We are going to be taking 3 rolls of this mesh, stacking them up, because we want this to be kind of thicker, a little more bulky, so that it really takes up some space. So what I'm doing is just gathering these 3 layers up together in my hand, where I have about a 2-inch tail here, so we have something to wrap and tuck. I'm just going to go around the middle section, but you can start wherever you like. If you put it in the middle, it's going to be a little easier to cover the tail and see those little shredded up ends. Alright, so we're going to go down and measure, and you're going to measure about 8 inches. Grab those up, and I've got them laid on the table where they are stacked one on top of the other, which makes it a little bit easier to unroll them. Now we're going to go to the one that is closest to that one and add it there, because these will slide around. They may slide out of place, but don't worry, you can slide them back where they belong. That is not a problem. Okay, so now we went to that one, so let's go to the very next one, and the very next one is on the outside. So we're going to take another poof of those 3 rolls, and we're going to go on to the outside. Now we're going to do this all the way around, and I will tell you that I had about a foot left probably on each of these little rolls, so it did take the entire 3 rolls to make this wreath, but it makes a very substantial or thick full wreath, and it's going to have a really beautiful presentation. Now don't be disturbed or discouraged by the fact that I put sparkle on there, because it's a very little bit of sparkle. Imagine in the fall when it is we're first starting to have those changes in the temperatures, and you wake up in the morning and there's that sparkly dew on the ground, or the little sparkle in the cool air. That's kind of what I was going for in this wreath. So that's the sparkle I mean. I don't mean we're going to throw a 1.5 cups of glitter at it. You see what I'm saying? You see how what I'm talking about here? We just want to have that little bit, that hint of it. Okay, once we go all the way around and get back in our original position, we're going to start pulling these apart. And all you have to do is reach on the inside and pull each little layer apart. This is going to help make it look fluffy and thick, and it's going to cover up the entire metal base that is up underneath there. Now you'll see here on one side it's all fluffed out and the other side is not, just so you get an idea. And I did want to mention too that I used pipe cleaners that kind of matched what I had going on, so that if you saw any pieces of those, they would blend in a little bit better. But don't worry, that's just, see the difference there on the side that's fluffed and the side that's not? The pipe cleaners will be removed if we're not going to use them. But look at the difference here at how fluffy this wreath base is now. And certainly if you wanted to use different colors, you could definitely use different colors, but that looks very fall to me. Now I'm going to grab my ribbon and cut these into 9-inch pieces, and we're going to start making the little stacks that we use here for the little ribbon stacks, right? I'm going to cut those off, and then we will be dovetailing those, and I want to have one for each section. And then I'll add on some Dollar Tree ribbon to this. This is really pretty. It's the polka dots. I think this was from last year. Could have been from the year before, but I think it was from last year. We're going to do 7 inches with this. These ribbon stacks are going to be staggered, so they will not be the same way we usually do when all of them are the same length, but you can still do that process if that's what you prefer. It'll work just fine. Then we're going to take, I've got some gold mesh that I thrifted, and I'm just going to use that for a little something extra to bring out the gold that's in there. Dovetail that too, so there'll be 7 inches on top, 8 inches in the middle, and the bottom will be a 9-inch piece of ribbon. We're going to take those, squish them up on the side. You're just going to go right between those 2 top layers and then push your fingers together. If you need to adjust, you can go ahead and adjust, and then put it down right in the middle of those pipe cleaners. Twist it around a couple of times, and this is how it is going to look. It's going to give it a little bit more dimension with the different lengths of the ribbon there, and it's just going to be a different look. You can use the same pipe, I guess, base with a bunch of variations. So it's important to me that you know how to make at least one wreath comfortably, and then you can continue on to make it your own way, add to it, take away from it, do what I do, don't do what I do, make it your own. You know, that's what we do here. We make it our own. Okay, so now we're going to continue around with these until we get all the way around. It's going to be nice and fluffy, and it is really going to change the profile of this wreath. And you can see here that we don't have a whole bunch of crazy glitter going on here. We just have that little bit of sparkle. It's going to keep going on until we get all the way around. Now, I ran out of the polka dots, so there was another ribbon there. You can see this one, and it had sort of like almost like a leaf that has a bunch of little hollow spots in it. You know, when they're starting to break down and they have all those little openings, they almost look like you can see through them. That's kind of how this one looks. Now this is like a more of a bronze color. So we have a bronze, we have a gold, we have copper, you know, all of those beautiful warm autumn colors. So I'm going to go along here and fluff those out. Now if you want to wait until you get all the way to the end to fluff, you can do that. Now since I only had enough of the polka dot to go halfway around, I just used the other half, cut the other half in the little webby looking stuff so that I would have enough to go all the way around the wreath, and I alternated. So there's like a bronze one and then one that has more of the copper, then bronze, then copper, then bronze, then copper, all the way around. And now since I'm not going to use my ties, I'm just going to go through here, fluff out these little ribbon stacks, and I'm going to remove any of the pipe cleaners that are left in here. Be sure that you give it an extra little twist just to ensure that when you cut it, you don't have your stack falling apart because you only twisted it one time and it pops loose as you are trying to fluff it. Go ahead and do some extra twist if you need to. You want everything to be secure in this wreath. So really, honestly, the way this wreath is made, if this is something that you wanted to do and just leave it exactly like this, you certainly could. You could just fluff out all your tails and leave it exactly the way that you see it right now. Or you can add to it. You can add some acorns to it. You can add some pine cones to it. You could add greenery or leaves. in it if you want to. And in fact, I left in all that fluffing so you could see just how much work it really does take, what I really do. Okay, so just because the pick is on a wire doesn't mean you have to leave it that way. So I'm going to take the pieces off the pick. I'm also going to cut off the little section where they meet, and then I'm going to overlap them because I like the positioning of this better than them being far apart and standing straight up. So this is just kind of changing what they are a little bit, if you get what I'm saying. You buy flowers or artificial greenery and you buy them on a stem, then you can use them in that one stem, that one pick, or you can cut the elements apart and use them however you like them. And so I'm just going to be sure here, I'm going to use 2 leaves, and I really didn't have enough to go completely around every section. So for me, I'm just working on the inside and the upper section. I'm not going to the outside section with the leaves. And then that gave me enough to cover. But by all means, go all the way around your wreath if you would like. You can also find greenery and little miniatures like this at Dollar Tree all the time during, at the time once they start getting their fall stuff out. And I can't wait to see what they have this year. So these are things that I've had since last year. This little set of pinecone ornaments came from the thrift store, but you can definitely find the little wooden ones, paint them, and use those. All right, I'm going to take a little cotton. This is just a little cotton string that I have, and I could have used jute, but I just wanted to use the cotton. I don't know why. I was just feeling it that day. And I'm going to put these 5 acorns on here. Now you notice that I did glue the tops down because I don't want those popping off, and they will pop off pretty easily. I'm going to go through the center here just for something different. Just different, just something different, y'all. And I'm going to make almost like a little banner through the wreath so that you can see these acorns hanging down once you have them on your wall. It's just a little something different. It's just a little surprise thing, If you don't like it, don't do it that way. But this is how I made it my own. So, the videos are for inspiration to show you what you can do, and then by all means, go ahead and make it your own. Trim off any extra that you don't need, and that's what I have done here. I don't need those extra little pieces, so I'm just going to get them down, make them very neat. And then anytime you flip the wreath over, you're going to have to flip it back and kind of, fluff it out a little bit to make it nice and strong and have a really great look all together with no little extra overhangs. And you just want to make it look perfect. Go back and touch every piece of it and make it beautiful. We want it to live up to its full potential, and I'm very pleased with this wreath, and I really hope that you like it as well. The next is going to be a Dollar Tree autumn sign. So we are going to be using some black chalkboard paint from Dollar Tree and a brush, a variety of trims, whichever ones you like. Some are from Dollar Tree, some are ones that I've thrifted. You can see the differences here. Okay, and then we're going to use a Dollar Tree calendar from 2022. That's right, I hang on to stuff, y'all. I told y'all I hang on to stuff. And we're going to use this little sign from Dollar Tree. It's a little farmhouse sign that they have. Now, if you're looking for these signs, I didn't find them in the regular decor. I did not find them in the Crafters Square section. They were on an end cap with a bunch of other stuff that is farmhouse-esque, if that made sense to you. Okay, so I'm going to just untie the little bar from the top, take the ribbon off, or the string off, and I'm going to take off the ribbon, save the little tacks that went in it. They are indeed tacks. And I'm going to find placements for this calendar page on here. I'm going to attach it down with a little bit of this school glue. This school glue in the stick like this, to me, really makes a difference when it comes to things that will bow. If you put Mod Podge or wet school glue, the white kind, and you put it on some MDF like this that's thin, it can cause it to bow a little bit more. So using this is almost like you're putting something dry on top that's an adhesive, and it doesn't make the MDF material draw up. Just in my opinion, that's what I have found in my experimentation with different types of decoupaging and stuff like that. So you just use whatever method works best for you, and this works for me. I'm going to cover that up, and then I'm going to try to kind of eyeball where the center would be. I like to use my fingers and kind of push them along the edge here too, so I can see if it needs to be moved before I press it down. Then I'm going to just take my hands and press sort of inside outward, and then I'll take the little squeegee and I'll start working on it. Now, it didn't have any wrinkles in it because it's not wet, and but sometimes you will catch a little bubble or something in there, and you can just go ahead and scrape that out from the center to the outside so the air has a place to go. It can escape out the side. Now I'm going to flip it over and cut off whatever is left. Now the beauty of this, in my opinion, one of the beauties, is that you do not have to wait for that school glue to dry to go ahead and do this step. And that makes it great for me to get these videos out to y'all, is to show you how you can do it a little bit quicker, so you don't have to wait all day in between your crafts to get things done. I like to get in there and just get it done, you know? Okay, so there was a lot of glue on this little hanger stick. I'm just going to use a little emery board here, and I am going to go over that and try to cut down on the glue that is there. I'm not so concerned about it that I have to go and get Goo Gone and alcohol and heat and all that. I'm not, because this is rustic, so I'm totally cool with it. I even went completely down it, made a bunch of scratches in it to really make it look older. I am going to just make this edge nice and clean by going over it with the same emery board that we filed the other one down with. It looks like I am really just struggling here, but I wasn't. Just use, you know, normal pressure to get that off of there. And now I'm trying to decide what I want to use across the top, because yes, there is a little extra room up there. And I thought it would be really nice if we added something that would make it look like it was meant to be made that way. So I'm taking some of this trim that I have. You can buy the sections of trim at the Dollar Tree Crafter Square, and you can find any type of ribbon that you want for the top. I wanted to try to find something that looked like it went together, and the spacing in the open weave on this ribbon it kind of matches the other one, you know, and the coloring kind of matches the other one. And that was kind of what I was going for, not kind of. Y'all have to forgive me if I repeat myself. My memory since I hit menopause has just gone down the hill so fast. It's kind of ridiculous. Y'all pray for me. I feel like I'm losing it sometimes, but hormone therapy has begun. So hopefully pretty soon your girl will be straight again. Can you only imagine if I had all my wits about me what we could come up with together on this channel? Can you even imagine? Oh my goodness. Okay, so now I'm just going to tack these down because I like how they had it hanging. So we're going to use the same method, or mechanism if you will, that they used. And I'm just going to fold it back over and do the same thing. I'm going to go about 1 inch from the edge, fold it over. I am going to use some hot glue, but I also want to put those tacks back in there because I really like the look of that. I want to make sure that the length of the folds or the loops there on the top are the exact same length, because if they are not the same length, they won't hang level. And no, I can't do that. We have to have a nice level. If you want it to look like it is boutique or store-bought or, you know, really nice, then you're going to have to do those little extra things. You're going to have to do those extra things. It doesn't take a lot of extra time to do it. Just be sure that you double check. You want them to be even, okay? Now, and mine was not, so I had to pull up a little bit. My glue was still wet because it's hot glue, so I was able to do that. I'm going to take my little tack. It's like an upholstery nail or brad, I guess you would call it. I'm going to put it in the end and then push it in. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one, and then I also grabbed my hammer and tapped it 1 time each on each side. That way I wanted to make sure that nothing came loose. Then that little rod can be put right back in the hanger. And then you can decide how you want to, what type of a hanger that you want to use on the top. Do you want to use more ribbon? Do you want to use jute? And I decided to use this thicker, it's like a braided type ribbon. You can use jute, you can use baker's twine, you can use the original stuff that came off of here. You can just put that back on if you want. I just really like the idea of being able to buy things that don't cost a lot of money and turning them into something that you maybe wouldn't even have ever thought came from the Dollar Tree. That you would never have even thought, you know, it just boggles your mind sometimes what you can come up with. And I'm always encouraging y'all, please, 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 always make it your own. Make it exactly like you like it, and as perfect as you like it. I was looking at it because, as I was saying, you need to be sure you make it straight and get it level. What did I do? I did not get it straight and level. but it does get fixed. You just be sure you do it right the first time. Let me do the goof ups and then I'll tell you how to do it right. How about that? Okay, so let's add a little bit of extra here. Let's continue down. We don't want all the fun to be up top. Let's go ahead and continue down and put it on the tailgate here. It's the same braided ribbon that I used on the top to make the hanging section, and I'm going to use that for the end. And what I like about it is once you place it down, you can kind of maneuver it a little bit. It's almost like a flat tube, so you can kind of pull the weave out just a little bit, and that's what you see me doing with the fingers here, to press it down and pull it out so you can really see the beauty of that particular weave. I'm going to also box it in by putting some right here at the top, and then I can add another one right along the bottom and glue that into place, trimming up our corners so they're nice and tight. We want this to look as square as we can make it look without measuring it. And we're going to do the same down here. You could hang a wreath off the back. You could put some artificial pumpkins, the little cut-out pumpkins. You could color those and put them in the back of the truck to give it some more dimension, however you like to do it. I'm not going to go all out on here. I just want you to know what you can do and how you can make it look nice. I decided to add one more layer of that open weave from up top that we used on our hangers. I'm just going to add that down right next to there. And to me, that makes it look a little more balanced. And so now the thankful look like it's kind of in the middle. I'm going to put a little bow on the bottom. By all means, skip this part if you don't want to do it. It just looked kind of silly to me to be down there, and there was nothing down there. It's like a little dip of blue and then nothing. So I am going to add a little bow to it. Don't do this if you don't want to. Add a pumpkin to it. Put this on the tailgate. However you want to do it, you do it. I'm so glad that y'all are enjoying the Halloween and that you enjoyed the Christmas in July. But now it is time for fall and Halloween, and then Christmas will be back. Christmas will be back later, so be sure that you subscribe so you do not miss it. See, I'm going to put that right there on the end. And if y'all have heard about the Crafty Cruise, I'm going to put that information down in the description box, and I want y'all to go check it out. Because it's a great opportunity for us to get to meet each other and talk and ask questions and just really see the face behind the channel for several different channels. We would love to see you there. Okay, so this is how it is going to look. And let's not forget, you're going to want to paint the back of it. You're going to paint it or you're going to cover it with fabric so that now it's ready to give away or to be hung up. The next is going to be a trio of fairy baskets. I've got some thrifted greenery, and I also have some greenery from Temu. These sunflowers came from Temu. These are some table scatter pieces, or like a potpourri set thing. I've got all kinds of extra thrifted greenery and ferns, and these look a little fallish. They got little tips are brown. We're going to use foam and some green grass mat, and we're going to use, these are the 3 little baskets that I got from the thrift store, from the Goodwill bins. We're also going to need a little pick to stand with, some more table scatter of whatever sort you want to use. It's just going to be a big variety of stuff. And then these beautiful flower fairy pieces that I got from Temu. Not sponsored. I have to say that every time I use the stuff that is not sponsored. So here are an example of some of the beautiful little pieces. These are just like a vinyl type thing or a PVC type stuff, but they don't have any adhesive on them at all. So you can really use them for a bunch of different things. I'm going to pick 3 of these little beautiful fairies to be featured in this video. And these are the 3 that I'm going to choose because they look mostly like fall to me. We're going to cut down foam of whatever type that you have. You can use thrifted foam, you can use Dollar Tree foam, you can use foam out of a box of stuff that you get from a store. It doesn't matter. I'm going to fill in that bottom. We want to bring it up to level, or almost level. And then we're going to use a variety of different base coverings. So we'll use moss on some, and we'll use some of this moss mat, I guess is what it's called. You can use AstroTurf, that greenish type of stuff, whatever you choose to use. And then there's also moss in a variety of colors, and you could certainly use Spanish moss here if you wanted to. But I like that, you know, we're going into fall. It is not completely fall. With this decor, it is definitely in the heat of summer right now, but you know, as far as the decor goes, this is kind of more of a summer to fall piece, I guess you could say. Now the moss that I have here I got from Dollar Tree, and it is like a brown color moss, but I really like it for the fall stuff. I think it makes a great base for this one. Now I'm going to also use the green mat to go in the round one. And I just like to use a little hot glue and use some type of a stick or something or a tool to kind of poke in the edges so that they go down and you don't see an edge and I don't have to continue to cut. Now this is a beautiful succulent piece that I got from the thrift store, and I think it is gorgeous. So I'm going to put it to the side. I know I want to use it, and I'm going to grab up the other things that I think I might want to use and sort of put those into piles that are going to coordinate so that we can get our little miniature fairy pieces together. So I'm adding a tiny bit on the stick and then on the base where her feet are, so she has some way to stand. And I'll start taking these pieces of greenery and making some type of little home for her. So I'm going to just place these in here. I do not know what these are called. Do y'all know what these are? I don't know what they're called. They almost look like what we call gumballs from the trees around where we live here in southern Alabama. And I know they have those trees in Mississippi and Louisiana. They look sort of like that, but they almost look like a berry. I don't know, but they're beautiful as far as crafting. I like these types of things when it comes to fairy, magical, or, you know, mystical type things, because they have that surreal look, you know, that otherworldly look that I think is so beautiful with the imagination that goes along with making fairy decor. All right, so I'm going to place these down. I like the idea of this being kind of partly on one side of the handle and partly on the other side of the handle. I'm going to cut down these pieces. I can make them shorter and I can leave some tall. That's going to give some dimension. I can also use pieces that I've already cut off and add those. If you have a scrap pile, you can use your little scraps from your greenery for that. So now we have all of that little succulent down in there in different sections. I love how it's hanging down on one side. Very cute. And I'm going to add some of these little orange flowers. And she has an orange gown and some orange in her wings. She's got that beautiful honey-colored hair. So I want to add some of that in there. And plus, you know, it's fall, so we want to have some fall in there with the beautiful purples. How cute is she? And we're going to do 3 of those. And I'd really like to know which one that you like best. That helped me a lot in the future with making videos. Oh, she's a cutie. I would love to be there. She's looking up in there. So cute. Okay, so now let's go to the next one. This is our little square basket. We've already got him glued down. So we have a little fella there. I'm going to use some eucalyptus. You can get these types of eucalyptus picks and also that bittersweet that's laying there at the Dollar Tree. Also, the little orange flowers laying there are from the Dollar Tree as well. The piece that I'm putting in now is just a little scrap piece of something that I thrifted. We're going to add those pieces in. I like to add different heights, different levels, you know, kind of keep it in the same color family as far as seasonal. But I definitely like to add little surprises here and there, you know. Now I don't want these to fall out, so I'm just going to kind of add them to the side and add a little hot glue. And if you need to hold it in place for a minute or so, go ahead and hold it in place so that nothing falls over until the glue begins to set up. I still want it to be nice and neat. I look at this at a perspective of almost like if you could shrink yourself down and go into the picture. What would I like? What would I like around me? And then I think about fairies and all that innocence and magic that goes along with that. And what would make them happy? You know, what would I like to see with them? What would I imagine that they would have all around them? So in this scatter, I have some little things that look like pumpkins. They're not pumpkins, but they look like it. So why don't we just do a pumpkin patch in here? Maybe it's even some wild pumpkins growing. So I'm just going to add those down there. And they're just going to be here and there, just in some little open spaces. You know, be sure, like I've told y'all before, pick it up. Let's look at it from all levels, all sides. See what's going on. Are there any little peekaboo places where you can add a little something special that's unexpected? Add something. Look how adorable he is. Now the idea is to get him standing up where it looks like his feet are holding him up rather than the stick. So you don't want to see the stick, shove that all the way down in the foam. And look how adorable. Yeah, this one is really cute too. Love the dimension in here. Okay, the next one is going to be the round basket. This is a little girl we're going to use. I'm going to take a larger pick. I'm going to pull these little squiggles out because to me that looks like Halloween, not fall. And I'm going to take this pick apart. You can cut it into pieces and then you can use each little individual piece however you like. And I love the idea of us having all different levels of height in here. You know, when you look at the forest floor, you see all different heights. You see little short mushrooms, you see trees that have fallen over, and you also see vines that climb the trees, and you see very, very tall trees that have been around for ages and ages. We want to see all that interest reflected in these little homes, dioramas, habitats, whatever you want to call it. So you can add your little flowers here and there. I'm also going to add some of these pine cone looking pieces here and there because I think the sunflowers are really pretty, almost a showstopper in this one. However, she is going to be hidden in here and she's going to have a very nice little playground going on, so keep watching so you can see what we do. Now I've added bittersweet as well, and you just take those off the pick, you know, pull them off. If anything needs to be cut off, you can cut those off, and then you can just add some pieces here and there so that, you know, you get that representation of color. See the beautiful pops of color there? I've just taken that off, put it on an extra little piece, and then look where she is. Look where I put her on the side. She's right there by the handle, you see? All right, let's make her something fun. This looked like a slide to me, and it has a little lip on the edge of it that fits perfectly on the basket. We're going to just go with that and make it look like she's been playing and now she's just sitting down. Look at that. That's so cute. And I'm going to put a pine cone, a little mini pine cone, right in the bottom of that loop of her little slide. And I'll add some pieces of that beautiful fern just to give it a little difference in texture. Yeah, yes, I like that. I like that very much. And those colors are so pretty with the dark green and that little pop of color. Now, since we can't make this stand up, but I want it to look like a little bundle, I'm going to use a twist tie. I've never done this particular thing before. I usually use wire, but I thought, hey, let's use the twist ties and see how they work. So I'm going to cinch it up really, really tight above those little caps that stick to the wire stems. So they're right above that. Now it's going to make like a little triangle. I'm going to add the hot glue, and that's going to give us a wider base when we put this down so that it can stand up on its own. Hold it in place until it is dry. And then I'm just going to add in some random bittersweet pieces here and there all the way around. Isn't that adorable? I think it's cute, and I think it's adorable that she looks like she's getting ready to go down the slide. Look at that. You can be sure to, of course, bend your wires back and forth. Again, I want it to look like she's sitting because she's a sitter and not standing. Make it look like she's sitting there. I'm going to add some extra pine cones around her until it looks as comfortable and cozy as I like it. And I think that's pretty good. I love that. That's so sweet. I can't wait to decorate with these. They're probably going to be in my curio cabinet in my little secretary. Very pretty. Here's that cruise I was talking about, y'all. February 24th through the 29th, 2024. Space is limited. Go down in the description box and check it out. So this is going to be a Dollar Tree 3-sided lantern. We're going to use 3 of these pieces. I'm going to be using the white ones for this video. I'm going to use my staple gun with a 1/4 inch staples. And then here are the 3 frames I'm using. There are also bronze and black. This is a little thrifted box, but you're going to get one probably at Dollar Tree, and here's the measurement for you. So you can get something similar. It is square, and you can see that this is going to fit nicely. So I'm going to take it with the face outward, and I'm going to staple across the bars to hold this in place. I feel like the staples are going to do a much better permanent job holding these in place than if I used glue, because too much moving around would probably make these pop off, and I'm not interested in having a failed craft project. So we're going to do what we know works. A staple is going to hold this where it needs to be. There is a little black mark on the end of this, so you can see right where you want to put that staple. Makes it very convenient. Okay, so now we've got 2 sides done, and let's go ahead and do the back side. We're going to do the 3rd side here, and we're going to do it exactly, we're going to do exactly the same way. I hit my knee on the table, y'all. Okay, so now as I'm doing this, I'm trying to decide how to make this work, and y'all, this will bend perfectly to make an arch across the top. This is going to take a little patience, but we're going to make this work. We are definitely making this work. So once I have it sort of curved here so I know how I want to put it together, I'm going to grab my E6000. You can see I'm grabbing a bubble here. And I'm going to go from the bottom all the way up to where the top starts. Or the little arch stops. That's as far up as we need to go. I'm going to add this. I'm really going to put it in tight. I'm using that painter's tape here to hold it where it is close enough to being square, so that while the glue is drying, the pieces won't move and it will dry completely as I want it to be. And then after it's dry, you can layer it with a little bit of hot glue, which I did just to be on the safe side, and then pulled all my tape off. So this is what we have so far. These little panels come with little hangers here. We're going to use those hangers to help us in forming the top of this. I'm wrapping some jute through here, and I'm just going to pull these pieces together and tie this in a couple of knots. You're going to have to hold the string because it'll want to pull apart, and I'm making sure that the panels are where they need to be before I secure them all the way down. Because one panel will have to overlap. Generally, that back panel, I believe I have sitting over these side panels. Yes, I do. So keep that in mind. One of them is going, if you want this to look nice and neat, you're going to have to make sure that you take your time bending this, and you can see that it's kind of flexing on the right here, but you don't have to worry about that because we can bend that back out once we get it tied. I'm trying to grab it so I don't let the knot slip, and I did it successfully. Then you're going to add a couple of knots in it and then wrap your string around it. I'm going to grab my antiquing wax because we're going for rustic fall here. Really want to make this look much more aged. What you see now is like a gold rub on it, and I would rather have a little antique look on this. So I want the antique waxing look, and I'm going to use my chippy brush, and I'm going to tap some of it off. And I don't want really strong lines anywhere, so I'm just going to tap a little bit off, and I'm going to use this to go over and age the inside. It's going to be a little easier for you to see once we do the outside. I'll also be doing the box on the bottom as well, the front, and all the pieces that you can see. So when you're using wax like this, if you get a line that's a little too strong for your taste, just rub it back off. It's not dry yet, so all you have to do is rub it right back off. Blend it in, rub it off. All of it makes it look like part of the aging process, which to me just really makes it look great for what we're doing. Okay, so now we went over that too, and here I'm just showing you how I did the entire bottom of it. Be very careful. It's going to be hard for you to find a place to put your hand, and that wax will come off until it's dry. I did let it dry overnight. This is an ornament that I got thrifting. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. It's got some little chips on it, but it really doesn't bother me. We're going to start putting together this beautiful little candle box, or this little lantern. I'm using scraps. That's it. These are pieces of scraps that I have. I'm going to use a little block of wood to be a riser, and I'm going to put a flameless candle in there, sitting on top of that riser. I want it to be at a little bit different of a level. If you want it to be a platform, you can flip that box over in the other direction and it can be a platform. But I like the idea of, you know, possibly not gluing things down or gluing as little as possible and being able to use this little lantern for multiple projects. I'm just going to take some pieces and place them in there. I want to kind of go with the colors I'm already using and the colors that are in that beautiful little bronze owl. So I'm adding these picks that came from Dollar Tree last year, and then some other little picks, and I'm just going to kind of show you along the way how that's going to look. You can see I've wrapped that top up nice and tight with that extra string. We're going to make a little riser for our owl friend, and I'm just using 2 little pieces of these stumps that came from Dollar Tree in a bag. Love using their little wood pieces. And then you can place it on the inside, and you can also glue it on the inside. I used some antiquing wax on that top so it would change the color. And we're going to continue to add until it is something that is close to what we think would be a completed project. You know, I'm always going to show you a little extra if I can, or show you something a little less, but always give you ideas for how you can use it. I want to use a little bit of hot glue and some extra leaves on this and make it look like the owl is just sitting on a little pile of leaves. And I'll just glue him down there, and he is glass, so he is a little breakable thingy. You can see I'm holding it there for a minute because I really don't want it to break. And then when we turn on our candle, by the way, make sure you've got batteries in your candle and that it works so you don't break your heart when you get to the end and can't finish your project. Now we need a finial. So many ideas of different things you can use, but I love this that I pulled off of a thrifted piece. It's a little, like a cabinet pull, and I think it looks good with this. So I'm going to add some hot glue and then put that right on top. And it is resin. I did hold it for a minute to make sure that it dried. And then just to embellish the top or continue the look up, I'm going to add little stacks of leaves on the top. I got 3 on one side, and we'll have 3 sort of on the other side. I think this turns out really pretty. Remember that table scatter? Here's some more of it. Grab some pine cones, some acorns, whatever you like, and put that down in the inside where you can see them. And then I'm going to add a little pine cone right on the top just because I felt like it. I just felt like it. I know y'all can hear my kids going crazy in the other room. I apologize. Okay, so these are our projects, and I'm going to give you a little bit better look at each one of these. I hope that this is something that you enjoy for our fall video. I have lots more, and I have playlists, and at the end of the video there's going to be a little box that pops up. Click on that and you'll get to see even more wonderful fall goodness. I want to know which one of the little fairy baskets you like the best, and I would really like to know if you were interested in doing any of these projects. Are there any of these that you're thinking, I'm going to add this to my fall to-do list? I hope that I've given you some inspiration for sure. We have lots of fall coming up because fall and Halloween and Christmas are my favorite times of year to create and decorate and share with y'all. I would love for you to subscribe to the channel and help me reach my goal of 50,000 before the end of the year. Be sure you hit the bell button so that you don't miss anything, and I would love it if you do like the video or something that you've heard or seen in the video. I would love a thumbs up. It really helps YouTube to know that I'm making quality videos that people enjoy, that they like to watch. And when they know that people enjoy it, they'll show more people. And we want everybody to feel inspired and encouraged to keep going in their crafting journey, don't we? Thanks everybody who has already been here for me and who has stopped by today. It means the world to me to know that you enjoy my company. Click on this box and I'll see you again real soon. Bye.